All right, well, good morning. Good to not see you all this morning. I'm just kidding, but just wanted to let you know my name is Drew Dixon. I'm one of the elders here at Peninsula Grace, and I get the privilege of sharing a quick devotional on our John 4 reading with you today. And before we start, just want to encourage you that in this time of a lot of physical distancing, just to really remember and lean into the truth that Jesus is near to you. And so if you haven't read John 4, you should pause the video now and go read John 4 and think about it and study it a little bit. I'd encourage you to do that. Because I'm not going to explain in detail to you John 4 right now, just some thoughts as you dwell and study on the chapter. So a couple questions to ask yourself that I was asking myself as I was reading through is, how is the state of the heart and spirit addressed in the passage? And so as you think about that, then of course maybe turn that question inward and ask ourselves, how can we apply that to our hearts and our spirit personally? So just going to give you a few things that stuck out to me, or I was convicted by. And so the first thing was that Jesus makes a spring of living water in us. And so in that part of the passage where it's talking about the well, they had to go every time they wanted water, they had to go to the well to restock, to resupply. Where Jesus gives this picture of a spring he puts in us, which of course never stops flowing. And so I encourage you to think about that reality. What does that mean? What does that look like for you to live out of that never-ending spring that keeps flowing, that Jesus makes in you? And as we think about worship, oftentimes we think about a physical location, and here we see in the passage that worship is about our hearts and our spirit towards God. So I'd encourage you to ask a convicting question of, where do you limit worship to a physical location as compared to it being about the heart attitude and your spirit towards the Lord? And day to day as we live, like in the moment, I was just impressed that the harvest is now. The purpose we have, which is incredible, the mission and the call we have to live in today is a moment by moment call. And so that idea of the harvest, it's now. It's not a time of waiting. It's not a time of next year. The time is now. And so how can we share and teach and talk about the love and the hope that we have in Jesus with those around us today? And lastly, at the end where it talks about, signs and wonders, how often do we need a sign and wonder to go with or believe in this Jesus? The official at the end of this passage, of course, was in person with Jesus and heard his personal words. I haven't had that experience myself, and I'm sure you haven't either, but we do have his written word. And so as we are trying to encourage one another to be in the word together, we have these reading plans and things like that. I just encourage you to actually read the word, to believe it, and then to act on it. And so as we close out here, I just want to encourage you with the truth that you are deeply loved by your family here at Peninsula Grace, and even more so by an infinite God who knows and cares about you more than you could ever imagine. And so with that, thank you for listening, and thank you for being in the Word. And with that, I'm signing out.